we should concern ourselves more not with the pursuit of happiness, but with the happiness of pursuit. Very warm welcome, my name is Johnny Monk, and I'm going to be talking about the art of happiness. This is actually one of my first videos, so here we go. I can't believe it, and it's a good one as well. Within this video, I'm going to be talking about the film Hector in the Search for Happiness and 5 lessons that I've learned throughout that film that's made an impact on me and I find completely true, and want to share my story about what I find so real about it. The film is about a therapist in London who has many clients coming through his door and telling him their struggles, about why they're unhappy and how they can overcome it. Hector, the therapist, struggles to introduce happiness into their lives and how to improve it because in his own personal life he isn't doing that well himself. So he goes on this big pilgrimage, this big trip, and he goes off to all over the world. He goes to Asia, Africa, and then America, and sort of finds happiness and tries and learns the lessons and asks people around him, what makes you happy? There's actually 23 lessons, as they call it, and I've chosen 5 that are super applicable to me, and here's a story for each one. And here, this is a fantastic chance for you to either relate, to comment, and to talk to me about. So if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, please give it a subscribe, just right down below. It's so quick to do, and I would appreciate this to grow. I think in this I can give real life experience and real life examples, and I would love to share them with you. So if you're ready, let's dive into them. Lesson 2. Happiness comes when least expected. And I love this quote. It's one of the most common lessons we ever go through. Like when we're a kid and we get a present for Christmas and we've expected one thing for the whole year, we've asked for that, and sometimes we get something completely different, something we didn't ask for and didn't expect. And when it hits those right buttons and we love it so much, wow, that's just happiness. I remember asking for a Nintendo for the whole year and I didn't get it, and I got I think it was a remote control plane. I love that plane more than I ever thought, and it was just the best thing. I remember that was feeling happiness. It also happens even with not materialistic things, it happens with people. So when you go from strangers to friends, and that person just has an impact on you, and you make a friend for life sometimes. A bit like later on with Ivan and Arantza, I think I'll know them for a very long time, and when you meet certain people, you stick with them, and I think that you don't expect. You can go from one day from not knowing someone and then the next day to knowing someone, and bam, you least expect it. Someone comes into your life and you can find happiness within them. Sometimes people are the key to happiness. It can be, you can have everything in the world, you can have property, you can have money, you can have it all. But I think some people can let you in on happiness, and that's just one of the most beautiful things about people. Lesson 5, sometimes happiness is not knowing the full story. I think when you don't know everything, I feel there is an inner peace and a calm about not knowing the full story, about not trying to pursue other people's business or trying to find out stuff that doesn't really have an impact on you at all. I think there's an inner peace of not knowing everything. For example, I don't want to say simple people, but sometimes there are simple people in the world that live a simple life with no responsibilities, or not a lot of responsibilities, so they don't really think about the outside world so much, and they're just genuinely happy. You know, when people get bullied, they say, just ignore it, it goes in one ear and out the other. I know it's a hard thing to do, and it sounds a lot easier said than done, but it's so true. If we just let it go over our heads, we don't know, we don't hear it, we don't have to, we kind of filter it out for ourselves. I mean, isn't that good? Very much ignorance is bliss. We don't need to know everything, and really what you don't know doesn't hurt you. Just, I think it's letting the good information come into our heads healthily, what we need to know and what we want to know, which is good for us. Lesson 15, this is one of my favourite quotes, and I use this all the time because I'm an adrenaline seeker. Happiness comes when you feel truly alive. Now, this is my favourite. Every time I go travelling, I make sure that I try and squeeze in one kind of adrenaline-fueled activity. I don't know whether it's parasailing, going over Lake Garda and seeing a completely different perspective of this massive lake, doing quad biking in Marrakesh in that dry heat. There's an adrenaline rush, and I think when you're doing these things in that present moment, you sort of feel everything and nothing. Your whole body is switched off and kind of just focusing on what is just happening. It's kind of like you're lost in a completely different world and feeling and seeing things so new. It's kind of like being born, and everything is so shocking to see, and it's brilliant. And then it lasts, it lasts for so long, and then you land, and that's it. I've always tried to include it. It makes me happy all the time. Even when I went to a festival in 2016 and I was on someone's shoulders, the feeling of being just above the whole crowd and seeing everyone and seeing how big and vast this whole thing that we're sharing together, this whole show and performance, it was the most incredible feeling in the world. And I remember waving and going, "Can you see me? Can you see me?" And they were waving back, and I was just thinking, wow, this is the best happiness in the world. It just makes me smile now, just trying to explain it to you. I'm going to introduce you to Arantza. I met her on Angloville as well, and she has this very warm and passionate heart.
I am Arantza Manueco. I'm 25 years old, currently living in Slovakia, and I'm from Mexico. I teach English and Spanish, and I love life. Happiness, to me, is having the ability of being surprised by absolutely everything and being grateful for that. Lesson number 3, many people only see their happiness in their future. I think a lot of people are either obsessed with the past, a lot of people are obsessed with the future, but just a small portion of people in general live the moment. And maybe that's a problem, because when you're not living the moment, and this might sound like a cliche, but you're just missing out on what's surrounding you. And it can be amazing because you maybe don't realize, but it took you a while to be where you are and be who you are. So it's really cool when you take the moment to enjoy the moment. We can just see it reflected right now. A lot of people are not enjoying the confinement, but you cannot only rely on what's going to happen in the future, because we don't know what's going to happen in the future. So I think we're just missing out on the opportunity of becoming better right now. We just get excited about what we're doing in the moment and pretend to be kids again. It's going to be very easy to remind you of being happy. I think being part of the Generation Z, we have everything, and we're just struggling to become someone and to stand out from the rest. I don't think that makes us a sadder generation, but it makes us less excited about the moment.
And finally, lesson 16, happiness is knowing how to celebrate. So I went to do Angloville in February. I met this incredible guy called Ivan, and he is a business owner, entrepreneur, and he's actually starting his own YouTube now. He's called Ivan's Planet.
My name is Ivan. I have my blog, ivansplanet.com, and I'm an e-commerce entrepreneur. I was born in Argentina, grew up in Spain. I'm 24 years old. I think that I've been blessed that I've been born a natural optimist. I'm happy, I would say maybe 90% of the time. Or happiness is knowing how to celebrate. I completely agree 100%. I think it's knowing when it's time to, relax and enjoy yourself. Now, for example, in Spain is the country with longest life expectancy in the world. It's also considered the country with the happiest kids. Those facts come from the UN. I don't know how exactly they're measured. Part of the factors that contribute to this happiness and long living, it's celebrations, because both in Spain and in Brazil, they have way more national holidays and parties than anywhere else in the world. So it's very, very important. You've got to know when you've done what you had to do, you deserve this, it's time to celebrate, The happiness of the pursuit. You just got to aim to be a better person every day, to be happy with what you are, strive for what you want to do, and happiness will come. Happiness depends on you. No one else is going to bring it for you. If you know what it's going to make you happy, what it is that you want most in the world, you should head towards that straight on. No mumbling about, no lounging. Just go for it, because in the long term, you're going to feel happy.
A shared happiness is the best. So good, let's try and have this massive hug together and do it. But let me know below what inspires you to be happy and what kind of formula works for you, what things make you happy. I would love to know. Please spread the conversation and let's share this together. This is not my journey, this is our journey, and we're going to find it out. I'm not happy all the time, that's for sure. Who is? If I can be here with you talking about this, this is brilliant, this is progress. And this lockdown, it needs more people to be spreading love and spreading joy. So let's bridge the gap and let's work on ourselves and each other. Comment down below, subscribe and like this video if you think you've learned anything from it, and let's get this conversation going. Thank you so much to Ivan and Arantza for taking part in this and for being part of this conversation. It's amazing. And I will sign out now. So let me leave you with just be grateful and that you're alive and well, and we'll talk soon.